in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. Hey.
This is Decisions with Kevin Elkins.
Guess we're ready. Hi, everybody. And good afternoon, everyone. I hope this day is finding everybody feeling good. It's a Friday afternoon, and I'm Kevin Elkins. I'm your host. We call it this Decisions because everything we do in life has something to do with a decision that we have made. And even when we try not to make one, we have just made one. So good afternoon to you. Temperature outside as we go along. It's 50 degrees outside. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's hope it stays that way. I'm Kevin Elkins, and you're listening to 96.5 FM, Praise FM. And I do the afternoon thing here. We call this like a little talk show, just trying to, get you a little information into you and all that good stuff. Anyway, good morning. It is January, believe it or not, the 24th. 2025. It is a day that has never been. And it is a day, believe me, that once it is gone, it shall never, ever come again. It's a once in a lifetime deal. Once it's gone, you don't get a do-over. You don't get it back. You don't get to summon it from the past. You don't get to come back and do all the things that you should have done this day that you don't. And you certainly don't get a chance to come back and undo the things that you do. So whatever it is that you do with this day, make sure that tomorrow should be. You be proud of what you have done on this day. If you've been around a while, you've seen, you've heard. Did I say good morning again? Good evening. If you've been around a while, you have seen, you have heard many, and if you live long enough, you'll see many yesterdays. And if we're blessed and given the grace, the mercy, the charity, and the love of God, we may, I am not sure, we may see some tomorrows. But if tomorrow should never be, then it is this day. That is the first day of the rest of our lives. What should we do with it? Well, whatever you do what you can, for whom you can, while you can, until you can't. Because somewhere along your walk of this thing we call life, somebody reached out and helped you. A hand up, a shoulder to lean on, a heart that cares, a hug that told you keep going, helping you up when you fail. We all have been lent a hand from somebody, known and unknown. We can do no less. Benjamin Elijah May said, whatever we do in life, we should do it so well, no man living, no man dead, no man yet to be born can do it any better. And I say that is the standard for how you live life. You'll always be successful. Oh, you'll fail in a thing or two. We all do. But you'll never be a failure until you quit. We say give out if you must, rest if you can. But you never quit. You never give up. Because quitters will never win. And winners, they may fail in a thing or two, but they never quit. The strength comes from getting back up every time you fall. not falling and staying there. So get up. Try it one more time. Good afternoon to you. Next up, it's our daily bread. I hope this day finds you well and in good spirits. We'll be back.
Satan is powerless against the power of Christ. Our daily bread. Today's encouragement from the Our Daily Bread devotion was written by Caleb Ochoa. Caleb writes, from my window I can see a 1,700-meter hill called the Cerro del Borrego, or Hill of the Sheep. In 1862, the French army invaded Mexico. While the enemy camped in the central part of Orizaba, the Mexican army established its position at the top of the hill. However, the Mexican general neglected to guard access to the top. While the Mexican troops were sleeping, the French attacked and killed 2,000 of them. This reminds me of another hill, the Mount of Olives, and the garden at its foot, where a group of disciples fell asleep. Jesus rebuked them, saying, "Watch and pray, so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." Caleb continues, how easy it is to sleep or become careless in our Christian walk. Temptation strikes when we are most vulnerable. When we neglect certain areas of our spiritual lives, such as prayer and Bible study, we become drowsy and let our guard down, making us easy targets for our enemy Satan to strike. We need to be alert to the possibilities of an attack and pray to maintain vigilance. If we remain watchful and pray for ourselves and for others, the Spirit will enable us to resist temptation.
Today's Our Daily Bread devotional scripture reading is from Mark chapter 14, verses 32 through 42. They went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." He took Peter, James, and John along with him, and began to be deeply distressed and troubled. "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death," he said to them. "Stay here and keep watch." Going a little farther, he fell to the ground and prayed that, if possible, the hour might pass from him. "Abba, Father," he said, "everything is possible for you. Take this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Simon," he said to Peter, "are you asleep? Couldn't you keep watch for 1 hour? Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." Once more he went away and prayed the same thing. When he came back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. They did not know what to say to him. Returning the third time, he said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Enough, the hour has come. Look, the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer." That's today's scripture reading from Mark chapter 14, verses 32 through 42.
Let's pray. Lord Jesus, I know my spirit is willing, but my body is weak. Help me to watch and pray today for myself and for others. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Today's encouragement is provided by our Daily Bread Ministry.
Okay, don't go anyplace. We always pay homage to all of our armed forces of these United States of America: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and Space Force. After all, I am a member of that great fraternity, the baddest fraternity in the United States. I know you alpha people, you sorority people, I know you think you got something going on, but not like we do. All right, I just want to let you know that. Anyway, let's pay homage to all of our forces: Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, and Coast Guard, and of course the other folks, the what they call it, Space Force. Still haven't figured out what to do yet, but we'll see what history says.
until we meet once more. His mercy Beloved, ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through love and gale and sun and ship to win our victory. Sing through the seas of time, our plans are battle too. We're always ready to work on. I will stand with my fire. Up we go into the wild blue yonder. I will fly into the sky. Here they come, soon to be our thunder. And a voice never
And let me say good afternoon to all the folks in the Air Force here. After all, this is an Air Force town. Good afternoon to all the folks who are traversing the highways and the byways. They fly the little planes and all that kind of thing. But I have a personal relationship with the Air Force, being a paratrooper and all. They always jump out of those things, and they never let me down. They let me jump down, but they didn't. The plane always stayed in the air. Still trying to figure out how planes fly. Anyway, good morning. Good evening to you guys. And don't forget, coming up this afternoon, we have Mr. Joe Reed, the mayor's brother and local attorney. He's going to come here and try to give me some Bravo Sierra, but I got him. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we got this. Next up, the power. We do have this one thing that I have to play for you guys right now, because on Fridays and Mondays, I try to give you a little bit of motivation speech. Anyway, this is called The Power of Words. And after this, we'll come back and we'll get started in today's agenda. But I think we all need to hear a different perspective sometimes. And this is, well, no different. And it's called The Power of Words. And if you listen to this, you'll understand what it says, what it means.
He was a prolific author and writer who knew the power of words. Ernest Hemingway made a bet with a group of authors over lunch. And this bet that Ernest Hemingway made with these authors over lunch has become an anecdote about his life. They bet Ernest Hemingway $10 that he could not write a short story in 6 words. They bet Ernest Hemingway $10 that he could not write a short story in 6 words. And Hemingway took the bet because he was a genius when it came to making words count. He took the bet and he took a napkin and scribbled these 6 words on the napkin that are a powerful story. Here's the 6 words that Ernest Hemingway wrote a short story in 6 words. The words are: for sale, baby shoes, never worn. That's a powerful, powerful story. Everybody in here this morning got a 6-word story. Here's another story that somebody might have. There has been a terrible accident. Six words. accident. Six words. Here's my 6-word story. I'm leaving. The marriage is over. Here's somebody else's story. Your position is no longer needed.
Those are mine.
Here's somebody else's story. I just want to be friends. Here's somebody else's story. The cancer isn't responding to treatment. Six words. Here's somebody else's story. You are not able to conceive. Here's somebody else's story. Here's the last story. Here's a rose off the casket. 6 words. Did I say it was over? No, it's not. Because God has 6 words. That's the point of this whole sermon. God will not waste your pain. God will not waste your pain. God will not waste your pain. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. God will not waste your pain. Cry in the midnight, but weeping will endure for a night. But joy will come in the morning. Let them fire you on your job. No weapon sown against me will be able to prosper. Let your enemies think they have the upper hand. Greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. But God will not waste your pain. Go through whatever you got to go through. Cry as long as you think you need to cry. But then pick yourself up, take a bath, put some clothes on, come back to church on Sunday morning and say, I thought I'd never stop crying, but the Lord dried my tears. I thought I'd never laugh again, but here I am in the house of God, testifying that if you trust and never doubt, he will surely bring you out. Somebody got a story that I just mentioned a moment ago.
You know what I've noticed about God's trials? He hardly ever tells you, this is a trial, and if you hold out for 6 months, you'll be through. And some of us get to 5 months and 29 days, and we give up. We didn't know we only had 1 more day. Never give up. Never give up. Never give up. There's no precedent in the Bible for giving up. God determines how long the test will last, not we. Never give up. You cannot bypass endurance. You know who I'm speaking to at the moment? Me. You cannot bypass endurance and enter into the promises of God. You can come so far, but the completeness is only through endurance. And just when it seems impossible to hold on, that's the time to hold on. Don't give in. I would like to say that to several of you individually. You're in the test. You're doing all right. Just hang in there. Don't back out. Don't give up. God is faithful. I've been asked sometimes if I had a message to leave for posterity, what would it be? I always say I can get it to you in 3 words. God is faithful. God is faithful.
God will not waste your pain. God will not waste your pain. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. God will not waste your pain. Cry in the midnight, but weeping will endure for a night. But joy will come in the morning. Everybody here has a 6-word story. But thank God, that's just one chapter. God has not written the end of the book. Because when you look in the back of the book, there's some answers in the back of the book. If you don't know how things are going to turn out in your life, the answer is in the back of the book. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth passed away. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven like a bride dressed up for her husband. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. There shall be no more sorrow or crying, no more pain or death, for the former things are passed away. Behold, we see through a glass darkly. But one day, face to face, I will know even as also I am known.
The power of words. They have more power than you actually know sometimes. To do good, to do bad, to lift one up, and to tear one down. Hopefully we'll spend a lot more time lifting people up rather than tearing them down. Now, my guest is going to be here, in a little bit here, Attorney Joe Rick, but until he gets here, and again, good afternoon. I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good today. A lot of things going on in the national media. A lot of things going on in the local media. Not a whole lot going on in the local media. Now, I've been trying to reach out to some of my city council people and see if they want to come on and tell us what's going on. But a lot of conversation going on in America today about this whole DEI thing. Okay, I'm glad they got rid of it. Personally, I don't care nothing about it. Didn't help me. Don't help me. I don't care nothing about DEI. It is a way to give people a job, pay people for doing nothing. That's all it is. Okay? That's what I'm looking at. Anyway, the number's here if you want to call. It is, what is our numbers here? I got the number here somewhere. Oh, here we go, right here. Okay, I got the number. I know the number. Okay, I know the number, but sometimes my mind ain't what it used to be. 398-8791. That's 398-8791. And that, of course, is the on-air number. If you want to talk about things, stuff like that, give us a call. Whatever on your mind, what you think about DEI. The president is also doing something else that I'm in favor of. He is declassifying documents as it refers to the Martin Luther King assassination, Robert F. Kennedy assassination, as well as John F. Kennedy's assassination. It'll be interesting. We'll never know the whole story. Okay, when they say declassify, they're not going to declassify everything. I mean, they don't, we'll never know everything, but they'll give us a couple of nuggets here and there and let us know at least what they want us to know. But the DEI thing, what can somebody tell me what's wrong with the mayor of Birmingham? Seriously, what's wrong with the mayor of Birmingham? Really? Okay, they got all kind of killings up there, all kinds, and he's worried about DEI. Well, let me tell you something. When they get to prison, they're gonna see DEI at work. Yeah. You're gonna be diversity and inclusion and all that stuff, all in jail. Okay? You're gonna meet them right there. Yeah. A bunch of brothers gonna be in there. A bunch of folks gonna be in there. People that you know, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, everybody's gonna be up there. Because for some reason in Birmingham, which is worse than Montgomery, we just can't stop killing and shooting one another. I don't know why. I'm trying to figure that out. Because you don't feel diversified enough. I mean, what we're trying to do, make the graveyard give it more diversity. I mean, come on. Wolfen, oh, man. At one time, they really thought he was going to be the next Barack Obama, I guess, and don't look like it's working out that way. And now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You cannot blame a mayor. Okay, you cannot blame a mayor for violence and all that stuff, but mayors are accountable to the people. Okay, Mayor Reed is accountable to us because he happens to be the mayor of the city of Montgomery. But I'm not blaming him for the violence. I mean, but hey, it's his ship. Wolfen. It's his ship. He's the one running it, and so all this violence stuff. He's not doing it, but he is accountable to the people for it. And I don't know anybody. I mean, if you're not accountable to the people for it, we didn't say you did it. We're not even saying that you're responsible for it. But what we are saying is that you are accountable. I mean, if we go to battle, okay, and we lose 500 troops in one day, you know what they're going to look at? They're going to look at the general. No, the general didn't do it, okay? But his commanders, his lieutenant colonels, his lieutenants, his captains, his sergeants, they were on-site managers at that particular time. You are accountable to the general. The generals are accountable to the president. The president's accountable to us. At least that's the way it used to be. I don't know what it is now. But I see my guest has walked in. One of them DEI guys, I mean, he wasn't. I don't think he got through law school on DEI though. I think he earned it. Okay, but he believes in DEI because he's a Democrat. See, Democrats stand for Democrat. Okay, inclusion and illusions is what it stands for. Okay, democratic inclusion and illusions. That's what DEI is for. But anyway, let me for all of those who do not know him, he is Mr. Joe Reed. He's not a junior. Joe M. Reed, right?
Correct.
Right.
Right. Good morning.
Okay, yeah, and the M stands for Morgan.
That's right.
Who gave you that name?
It's my mother's maiden name. My grandmother's maiden name.
Okay, we love grandma. So
We like grandma.
Yeah, we ain't been
Good morning.
And evening. So you bad as me. You used to be being on the mornings too. It's evening.
It's evening, yeah. Because we used to do this in the morning.
Yeah, we used to. But the one thing that absolutely could for certain change in taxes and debt. So you can't do anything about either one of those. But how are you doing, Mr. Attorney Reed?
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm doing pretty good.
Now he is from the law firm of Joe Reed and Associates. And so should you need, since he comes around, I'm not paying him. Y'all need some legal work on. I don't know what he does. Probably a little bit of everything, right?
Not personal injury and criminal offense.
Okay, personal injury, criminal offense. Is there much money in personal injury these days?
Well, it depends. It can be.
Okay. I'm gonna get into your business. I'm gonna get into your business. You have seen, no doubt, the papers lately, and the DEI, getting rid of the DEI, state of Alabama, the government said, forget that, we don't need it, we're going to do away with it. I'm glad they're doing away with it. There's some advantage of doing away with it. Do you know what some of those advantages are?
No.
I didn't think you would, because you're a Democrat. But so I've been thinking about this all day long. There are some substantial advantages of doing away with it. Because to tell you the honest goodness truth, can you tell me any advantages of having it?
We don't have long enough.
No. Give me 5 things. Give me 5 things.
The obvious advantage of having it. Ask this question.
Yeah.
They're going to answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
Diversity, equity,
Mm-hmm.
and inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem with that?
Nothing if it comes naturally.
Okay. We've been down this road in Alabama. We've been down this road in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Very few things come naturally. We were waiting for things to come naturally. Black folks in America still be slaves. The 13th Amendment did not come naturally. It didn't come that way.
Mm-hmm.
The 14th Amendment didn't come that way. Birthright citizenship, which is another topic we're talking about, I suppose, today. And equal protection.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the 15th Amendment, granting at least Black men the right to vote. Those things didn't come naturally. That doesn't exist.
It was a natural progression, because I believe time in itself will bring about change. It has to.
I don't disagree with that.
Right.
Now, that being said, but when your shackles are manufactured,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and held in place
Mm-hmm.
by certain ethnic groups,
Mm-hmm.
why should anybody have to wait on what they should already have? Okay, why should you have to wait? Why should you have to wait for anyone to decide to treat you equally under the law? You just need to wait. And the reason that comes to my mind is because that's the same thing that was told to Martin King right before the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Well, you're asking too much. I told Martin, I said, Martin, you're asking too much. You won't let just. In fact, President Johnson told Martin King after the 64 Civil Rights Act, when King went back and said, I need a voting rights bill, he said, shoot. I'm paraphrasing a little bit now. Well, I just gave you a voting rights act. Civil rights act. What you want? You need to wait. That was always the talk when you're being denied your rights, things that are due to you. You need to wait. We'll give it to you in time. The freedom of African Americans should be given in time. Ridiculous things like that. So that is insane. There's absolutely nothing wrong. The whole concept of DEI is just what it says. It is diversity. It's inclusion. It's equity. It is a concept. It is a reminder. That's all it is. The stupidity that you see online right now, the stupid stuff. You can go on any of these. Go on Newsbreak. So not to go on Newsbreak. Just do it and read, because these are the people who you shop with. These are the folks who you work with. These are your colleagues. These are your managers. These are your church members. These are your club members. These are all these folks. And you ought to read some of them. A lot of them have their real names, some of them have fake names. Some people have no names. But what you'll get out of that is you'll get an idea as to what people are thinking. But the fact that someone is upset about diversity, we live in a country of over 300 million people. Okay, this country has had a very difficult time with race. And that's really an understatement. I'll probably do some folks a disservice by saying that it's like that. But to say that there's nothing you can't get in America, okay, that you want from anybody, of any race, any sex, any religion, anything like that. And so being diverse, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. So the whole DEI concept is to make sure that's out there. Mm-hmm. It is to open. When I say now, and anybody who's going to watch football this weekend, mm-hmm. okay, mm-hmm. particularly the NFC Championship, Let's start with that. NFC Championship.
Mhm.
You have two African American quarterbacks.
Mhm.
Kevin, you and I are old enough to remember the ridiculous question that Doug Williams got. I think that was 87 or was it 89? When the Redskins won. When they asked him,
let me back one. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
how are you? Good evening. Look, it's my pleasure. I have to straighten this guy out. He's like a coat hanger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think. Mm-hmm. Right. That is a political position. That's a political position, though, and it's a political, but it's political. The Secretary of Defense has always been a political position. Alliance, an allegiance to your philosophy is what you have in politics. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's right.
Again, it's a political position, which means that the people who get hired have shown a political connection to my political philosophy and to be considered. How many black folks can publicly say and publicly show that they are with the Republican philosophy? I ain't talking about two people. Come on, we have 330 million people. You give me one. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Are there too many black NBA players? Well, I mean, when I look on the court, I see 80 to 85% of them all black. What are white guys at? Well, again, though, diversity cannot be only includes businesses that have a minority of minorities and a majority of majority. I'm just saying, because once you open this Pandora's box, then everybody gets to come in. I'm telling you, when we open the door, like this, then white folks got a right to say, "Hey, I want to play basketball too." Okay, but I may not be quite as good as LeBron, but I deserve, because of DEI, I deserve a right to be there.
Okay, so you stop right there.
Yeah, I hear.
All right, this.
We don't want to play ice hockey. Okay. Because I say I'm 67. I've never heard 10 people my whole life say I want to play ice hockey. Yeah, who in the world wants to go left for 2 hours? Yeah. Okay. Huh?
I was going to hold him while you whooped him.
Mm.
Look, the caller's exactly right. Merit-based is just code word for.
Oh, there we go with the code word.
Because that's what. Because America will revert to its past. It simply will. It simply will.
What about the basketball?
I'll come to that.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick you on this first.
Okay.
America will go back to its past. It's proven that when you take away these guardrails, America is a bigoted society. That's the reality. No one wants to talk.
And so every group of people in this country are bigoted in some aspect.
Kevin, hold on. Listen to me.
Yeah.
America has proven, okay, without these guardrails, as the caller said, that it will revert to its primal instincts.
Give me an example.
The examples of these. I had a client too.
One client. Okay.
I can just give you. All I do is cases that come to me.
Okay.
I had a client who just got a class action settlement on a lawsuit by Eli Lilly.
Okay.
Who is part of DEI, was also age. Okay. Mm-hmm. This person was over the age of 50. Ridiculous qualifications. Turn down. Okay. Ridiculous qualifications. All right. So Eli Lilly just paid out a crap ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's no. Eli Lilly is not a BS company. Right.
No.
It's a real company. Okay. Because they were discriminating against people based upon age. That's what they were doing. What I'm saying is that people will do that. America has proven that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to your point, when these things will eventually happen, they don't just simply happen. Somebody has to do it. The armed forces that you served in, Kevin,
mm-hmm.
were integrated in 1948 at a stroke of a pen when Harry Truman
mm-hmm.
desegregated the armed forces.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who had done it before then? Nobody.
Right.
Nobody. So I'm saying all the generals that have been there, all the captains, all the colonels, all the officers who've been there, who did it? It's one man. So what I'm saying is that this country has shown that it can, for lack of a better word, it has to have instruction. It has to have rules. And we have these rules because people will do certain things. That's just the way it is. And to sit here and pretend like it won't happen is ridiculous.
There have been many things that have happened along the way in this country that nobody. My mother was born in Mississippi. My dad in Georgia. I don't really know him, but I know her. And she told me stories that angered me till this day, the things that happened to her. But when she told
as my father did,
right? But she told me, she said, "Don't hate, just don't trust." And I think I can live with that. But how long do we hold people in their 20s, in their 30s, right now accountable for what happened by their grandmother, the grandfather, the great grandfather, and people like that? How long do we hold them hostage because of what their parents did?
Well, nobody's holding anybody hostage. Because nobody accountable. That's not what's happening. To bring you back to DEI, that's not what's happening. The only thing that's being said, and the caller brought up the Rooney Rule in football. He and I will disagree with this because he didn't think it really meant much to get married, but I think it did mean. I understand where he's coming from, but I think it did mean something. I think without the Rooney Rule, at least getting people in front of folks who otherwise probably wouldn't. I don't think who probably would not have done that. Now, every once in a while, you have to look who's in charge of this stuff. Okay, and the fact of that matter is that white males control virtually 98 to 99% of what I would call the employment decisions throughout management. Just what happens. To the caller's point,
we make up 12% of the population of America.
That's fine. It's not. Listen to what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong. Based upon that, what we're saying was that ducks will hire ducks.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers bear that out. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So to say, and no one, and it was constantly talking to people online, which is very difficult because some people are they're just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Some are just ignorant, and the others just flat out racist. That's the biggest of who they are. But
isn't that too convenient of a word all the time? Racist. Maybe it just disagrees with you.
No, no, it's not. It's not a convenient.
What is a racist?
It's not. Hold on, I'll come to that.
Okay.
It's not a convenient word when it's reality. It's not that.
Disagreement is not racism, though.
No, I agree with this. I agree with that. But racism is what you practice. And what I'm saying is the practice in America has been hiring or not hiring qualified women, qualified African Americans, qualified Hispanics. People have had the qualifications and simply were bypassed. There was you may remember this. There was I think it was 2020 or one of the news shows where they sent resumes and they had certain names, qualifications the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they gave what they call some of the applicants ethnic names. Okay, and people, y'all can Google this if you got a little time. Just Google what I'm saying; they'll pick it up, and I'll come to Google in a minute too about how they're changing the algorithms. So that's another story. Maybe not enough today, but we'll talk about how Google and Facebook and Meta are changing algorithms and things you can't pick up anymore. But digressing a little bit there, you see where I was before I got on that little tangent. There's nothing wrong with no one's standards are being lowered because you're saying bring people in. You're saying bring people in because they're qualified people who can do the job. They just don't get the opportunities because people hang out, people hire from their social circles. And
like we do.
Well, hold on. 99% of we aren't in the managerial hiring positions.
Mm-hmm.
And those of us that are there, the doors had to be opened through certain programs. Okay? Certain programs open those doors. They didn't lower the standards. United didn't say black captains, get to fail this test and landing a plane in order to be that way. That's not what happened here. Mm-hmm. Okay? That's not what happened. The medical schools, Ohio State or the Mayo Clinic didn't say for black applicants or female applicants, you don't get to pass. We'll take these tests out of your boards. The boards are the boards.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what they are.
Mm-hmm.
With your captain of your plane is black or white or male or female, they all had to do the same things. The point was that there were people in charge who simply weren't bringing these folks to the table. But that's all. Hold on. But that's all DEI is. It's this diversity. Bring a diverse group. Equity. Be fair. Include people. That's all.
Okay.
That's all it is.
If I in fact was a government entity,
sure,
taking all, I'm supported over 50% by taxpayers in my business. I could kind of see this in a certain kind of way. But if I'm a private business,
sure,
I'm a private law firm.
Okay.
Nobody helped me get here. Nobody helped me put up a shingle. Nobody helped me pay law school. Shouldn't I have the right to hire? Because if I'm about making money,
sure,
I'm going to get the best lawyers with the best record. And should not be allowed to hire whomever I want to without even wondering about diversity.
Yes. Now, I mean, you should be able to do that. That on its face. What is the reality? I keep coming back to that. What is the reality here? The reality is that America's a racist country. It is. I mean, look.
It has roots.
Look.
It has roots.
When you have to pass it is. Okay. And discrimination has been practiced. I've got look at the Constitution of Alabama. You don't need to go any further than that. I've got Alabama code books that tell you about the segregation. We don't. I mean, if you want a history lesson, I can give you one.
But are those things relevant today?
Sure, they're relevant because discrimination and that prejudice is handed down generation to generation by some folks, like heirlooms are, like a family Bible. Mm-hmm. They're taught that. Okay, so I get this on my phone coming in. I see where a California team is suspended this season. Okay, it's forfeited all their football games because there's a prank. Some other than people of color decided they were going to hold a slave auction. Now tell me, all right, last night, tell me what a kid, a high schooler in 2024, I'm gonna say they're at the worst 17 years old. 17. Mm-hmm. He was born in 2007. When did slavery end?
1863, technically.
All right. Emancipation Proclamation. Tell me what you know about a slave auction.
Nothing. I know the Django, TV,
Roots. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Okay. Nothing. You know nothing about the price. You know nothing about it. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you read anything about it, your parents taught you anything about empathy, you understand. Yeah, that wasn't good. Okay. That wasn't good. Okay. So
have no. Okay. Wait. So and again, I hear what you're saying in principle, but you know what? This is America. And people have a right to express themselves in the way they want to.
Yes. We
So
all
kids will be kids, and our rap songs, the music that we put out today is more derogatory than that,
hang on before we go.
and we pay for it.
We're cutting across a lot of lines. Back to what you were saying,
No.
because this thing started with DEI,
Right.
So we're gonna go. So we're going back to that. So again, I'm going to say, what is wrong with having different people who can do the job at the table? Tell me what's wrong with that.
Nothing's wrong with it as long as I'm able to determine that, and not the government.
Okay, here's the thing. The government has a job to do right by all of its citizens. The government's function is always going to be different than private businesses. And how the government leads.
Where is that in the Constitution?
It's not in the Constitution. Everything is in the Constitution. I'm just saying the government has to serve all of its people. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and America is a diverse country. Okay, and because of its history and the way it was set up, certain people were locked out of certain things. Just weren't. Okay, now. So how do we fix these things? We just can't say, shrug your shoulders, go like, oh, well, no big deal. I mean,
but if we keep forcing people to accept principles, philosophies that they're totally against being forced to do, we're not making things better.
No.
We are actually making things worse.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
It's like disciplining your children. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do.
But we're not kids.
No, I'll say it's like disciplining children. I said they were children. So it was like that way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where leadership comes in. And so that's what's about what's going back to Harry Truman and what Truman did. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Truman didn't wait for, someone else to do it. He was the president of the United States. And as commander in chief, he said, this is a wrong and I'm going to right it.
And we'll be back.
This is hot.
I gotta learn all this equipment.
With the cost of feeding your family going up, why pay more than you have to? All you need to do is shop the Food Outlet in Brentwood, Millbrook, and the Eastbrook Shopping Center, Montgomery. At Food Outlet, everything is a cost plus 10%.
You have to have fair people.
Locally owned and dedicated to giving you more brand names without taking such a huge chunk of your paycheck. Listen to these specials.
All this stuff goes back.
28th.
It all finds its roots in American slavery. It finds its roots in discrimination. It finds its roots in segregation. It finds its roots there. So you can't just say that, wow, because we don't live in a colorblind society.
We can't even get
what's up there.
we can't even get in Africa the way we act over here. And that's a black.
We can't talk
Stop
about
that.
that.
But I'm just saying, we keep expecting everybody's a human being. Human traits are universal. There's jealousy in Africa, there's jealousy here, there's discrimination over there, discrimination. We are not going to eradicate it by pressuring people to do things they don't want to do. Unless you take tax out.
You're not. The answer is not. The answer is to not do nothing. Okay. The answer is not to do nothing. This is what the South talked about. It'll come. It'll change. That's what Lincoln did when he did it. Simply say no. You're not going to wait that long. If you got a minority ethnic group in the country and another group is doing something to them as a group, as a collective group, not individual. And what I want to go back to, you have to go back to the codification of white supremacy. Okay? And when it's illegal for you to live in places, you can't get along. You can't go to school.
We cannot.
Let me say this. Now you can't, and that one because somebody's hard. The government changed that. The law changed that.
Sure. I'm not saying that the law doesn't happen.
And a lot of conservatives have been mad ever since.
Saturday and Sunday.
I'm not saying that law has not had to step in and correct some crooked roads. I'm not saying that. But I am telling you, the road will never be 100% straight.
No, who says? Probably not, because you got human beings. So I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. But it's a conversation that America has to have. But come on.
And we are back. Our guest this afternoon is Mr. Joe Reed, attorney at law. That's right, my brother. I guess he'll be next in line for succession for that job when it's all said and done. Nothing wrong with that, though. I think your brother Joe actually did a pretty decent job, so I don't have a problem. This DEI thing, I can live without. But other than that, though, I think the city's being ran pretty good.
I think it is too. I mean, but it suffers from a lot of things that a lot of places suffer when things start to change, and that's sad. But it's just a fact. And I want to say this since a lot of to talk about. There's a conversation about race in this country that just hasn't been had, and it's not about blaming anybody. Okay, it's not about blaming anybody. And one thing I'll say about the things that happen to African Americans here in this country, I'm be real clear about what I'm going to say. There is not a cause that African Americans have been successful at in the history of the United States where we did not have white allies. Not one. Not one. So I'm not going to I'm not going to call and say was all white folks. There's all you got heroes and poor Steves anywhere you go. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere you go. I don't care what race or sex or gender. You got killers, you got kings, you got a-holes, and you got angels. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they come in everybody's race, and they come in different heights, weights, different hair textures, eyes, and everything else. So it's not about that. Okay. It's not about that. It's just that there are situations here there's just reality here. And the fact of the matter is, in most places, if you are a woman or if you are of another ethnic group who's not white, let me just say that, the likelihood of your superior not looking like you is probably 8 to 1.
But again, to make it 12% of the population of America, so you're not going to get a 50-50 split.
No one's not suggesting that.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't also is you can't have a disproportionate amount of people who are qualified to get there who are simply pushed away because they don't look like the person doing the hiring. What I was saying, hold on.
We're going to push somebody away.
Hold on, Kevin. What I was saying before, like I said, I'm going to listen to artists and Google this. I just wish I could remember. I'm going to find it the next break. But they were putting resumes in front of white managers of identical resumes, and sometimes the resumes were even better than some other folks. So they used what they call European names,
mm-hmm.
And use other ethnic names. And folks were discriminated against these ethnic names by, when it would go up the ladder for review, they write their name, but there was a code. Instead of using a capital, if my name was, Juan Smith,
mm-hmm.
okay, then that J may be a little j, and that would tell the person that this person was not white. And so they find something wrong. Okay, that's what was going on. Or when the name was ethnic, they didn't get the second interview, but the other person, with fewer qualifications, did. I didn't do this. A bunch of so-called liberals, if you will, did it. Whatever.
Do we take culture into consideration do we have a right to take culture into consideration when we look at an application?
What do you mean? I don't even know what that means.
Let's say.
What are you trying to say?
There's a term called front office appeal. Okay? I got an office. I need somebody to sit at the front desk. Okay, look good because you represent my company when first people come in. Do I have a right to take that in consideration? If your hair looks all crazy, and when you come on the interview, and no, I don't want that. I mean, some of the hairdos that some of our people wear today, absolutely atrocious. But yet, still, when you go on an interview, the guy's supposed to like you what your hair look like. Tattoos all over yourself. I mean, don't we have a right to pick who we want to?
Well, says yes. And says you certainly have that. Those are what some people, the law would call non-discriminatory reasons. Okay, I come in. Let's, for instance, if I were coming into a barber shop, okay, and I was going to apply to be a barber, that's what I was doing. But if I came in dressed like a fireman, the guys who are hiring may say, this is a guy who probably needs to be doing something else other than here. Perhaps. I'm not saying that will be it, but perhaps you may get an eyebrow raise there. Okay. So, yeah, I think how you apply to a job, there's still what I call norms. Okay. Even though this country is moving past that, with who we got as president.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Because
I knew sooner or later you had to go to Trump.
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Give me a couple of benefits besides let me sit at the table thinking that I might get a job. Thinking, and I put emphasis on that word thinking. Besides being able to sit at the table and think that I might get a job, what is the advantages? What advantage are the people who are supposed to be considered under DEI? What have they gained?
I mean, it's the opportunity for all these jobs other folks get. You know what some of the black coaches said about being hired or not being hired in the NFL? That they said they wanted the right to be fired after 2 years like their white colleagues were. They didn't perform well. Because the whole point, a lot of the black coaches in the NFL were saying how they were a lot of white coaches being recycled who were terrible coaches. Mm-hmm. And,
But give me something, how that is directly related to DEI. Give me. I'm just trying to figure out, because there's an advantage to getting rid of DEI.
I don't see any advantage.
That's because I'm the smartest guy on radio.
I don't see how limited. Here's the thing. I don't see how when you limit your pool. This is all DEI is. When you limit your pool, how that's beneficial.
I'm going to tell you.
Please.
In school, you have people. You got your bullies. We're not going to get rid of them. They're always going to be there. And you, at some point, you're always running. You're always running from the bully because the bullies come to get you.
Not me. I never ran.
Okay. Well, that's what you say now. I mean, years later, we don't know if you're running or not.
People live in high school because they knew I didn't take any of that.
But at some point, in order to stop the bully, you got to put your back against the wall and come out fighting, right?
Well, what you do is you put your fist on his chin.
Or break, whatever
it takes.
But one thing that doing away with DEI is going to have, I believe, the possibility of doing. That's actually making black folks stronger.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that too, because you're a good Democrat. If you cannot depend on anybody else but yourself and the people around you, who are you going to depend on? It makes you stronger to know that. Let's put it this way. Let's say, see what we've had a couple of people make lots of money in this city, but the majority of people in the city who work don't make that kind of money. But if we somehow were to combine our resources with some intelligence, bonds would be cheaper for some of these jobs. Okay, you would have people with all manner of credentials on your team, and you could go in and get some of these jobs. So all these DEI programs have done is take a couple of people out of the group and made them rich, gave them plenty opportunity. Okay,
that's not true. That's just not true. This is not true. Really?
So logic and reason wouldn't say that if 10 people get together, they have a lot more power than 2. Because we're crying now.
I'm saying that's a true statement. Go back to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. No, it's not going to make us stronger. I can say a whole bunch of things, which I'm going to be very careful. Decide whether I'm going to say it or not. But there was always the whole point of that. If I make your life miserable, you'll be better for it. That's the whole thing where people say, when they whip you, it's going to hurt me more than it hurts you. Now, that ain't true. My dad used to tell me that. I'm trying to get her to really say that. Mm-hmm. People said it, but that's just not true. Yeah. Okay. I don't think my dad ever said it. I think my dad told me this was going to hurt me more than it was going to hurt him. Mm-hmm. And he was right. But what I'm saying is that, look back to my NFL thing. The only thing that anybody who wants in this country need they are able to get is just simply a fair shot. Okay. Now the reason we have these things is because we have the human element, And that's
Okay,
where
let me-
the
Let me get the phone. Wait. Hello, you're on the air. Hello. Mm, yeah. hmm That's right.
yeah, facing the street. Yeah.
I know, but how long are we going to hold that as a trump card, as it were? I mean, I realize what people did back in those days. It was terrible. It was terrible. I mean, I've been through some of that, but we don't live in those times right now,
Uh,
right? hmm I'm just not gonna. I cannot swallow that. I think because I think we've learned. I think individuals may have some of the personality traits, good, bad, or indifferent, of their parents and stuff like that. But as a collective, we as a nation, as a collective, we don't. I just don't. Maybe I'm living in La La Land because I don't see that. Well, tell me where. Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you something. Has any letter, any law ever stopped discrimination?
yes.
I'm just asking. Name one that has stopped discrimination. Yeah. Who doesn't have the right to vote? Yeah. Yeah. We're not voting now, and we got all the privilege in the world to do it. 15% of us vote. Yeah. We do, and we don't do it. Well, I think you can't miss what you don't have. Again, but we cry a lot when it's our own fault. A lot of the situations we find ourselves in. Well, that's why we got all these public schools supposedly to teach our kids, but we're too busy worrying about him as a shim and a shim as a him. Okay, I mean, yeah, yes. Well, it only doesn't affect him very much because me and his mama are making sure that what they don't teach him, we try to influence him with. But if I left it up to the school, absolutely they would affect him. Sure, I asked. Oh, well, he takes the normal classes: calculus, math, social studies, social sciences. Uh, huh? What do you mean? Which ones? Yeah, he takes calculus. He takes impact. He takes science. He takes social. Oh, I don't know. Science is science. Eh? When I see their name on the paper, I know who they are. What's that? What's that? Why? Yeah. But he's in college. It's up to him. It's up to right, but it's up to him to decide he has, what he needs. When I was going to tell you, when you're 68, you ain't totally aware of everything that's going on. No, I don't. Oh yeah. What did, right. That it is, but some of that learning though. Right, well, that's true. I didn't say I don't need to learn new things, but again, I'm just asking the question. We seem to be a people who are bent on holding on to the past in order for our future. We just, at least y'all do down here anyway.
That's not true.
Yeah, you do. I went down to the place and signed up. Well, this was 1975. I was able to do it. I wasn't here. I don't know. I don't. Okay. And it happened. So why are we still holding on to that when anybody can be a state trooper now? Okay. Well, I'm like Ronald Reagan. The worst thing you can hear, I'm from the government. I'm here to help. Because if that were the case, why are we in the same shit we're in? What did he do? I think Ronald Reagan instilled an Americanism philosophy in us that made us proud to be American. Not perfect Americans, but I think he did. He gave us a sense of pride and to stick to it and to get out there and kick butt, take names. We're getting taxed now. Yeah. Well, now again, right. But now let's say this correct. No president passes laws like that. Congress does. Okay. Well, again, one man going against 100 senators and 400 some members of Congress, he would lose every time if they didn't agree. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and let's see what good he does. No, let's just say the So far, I haven't seen anything that he has removed that I'm feeling bad about.
There's an executive order out right now, Kevin, where the government now is not going to be releasing information, like on medicines and things of that nature, like side effects, stuff like that. He didn't shut that down, saying basically, we're not going to tell you what's going on until I clear it. Now, you know, crazy Robert Kennedy is going to be heading.
But Robert Kennedy wants to bring the light of day to all of that. Okay. Well, that's why he put it in there.
Is that what they call it now? Bringing a light of day to it.
Yeah. What about? Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. That will hire other people to work for them and create jobs. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. Well, again, everybody, again, I think we got people in Congress that are detrimental to national society. I mean, to national security. So we can put that moniker on a number of things, number of people, right? If I thought that they treated everybody the same, I would totally I would agree with you. I wouldn't agree with that. But since they have shown that they don't treat everybody the same, I did, but I was a nobody. They didn't know who I was. Yeah. Mhm. So, do you think that the president of the United States is anti-American? So, why are we so worried about it? As a matter of fact, he's been the most pro-American president we've had in a long time.
Oh God, please.
He's been the most what? What's wrong with capitalism? What's wrong with that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to the VA. It may be. Right, maybe. Mm-hmm. Right, right. And you think that's going to happen? I don't think so. I don't believe it will. Because there's too many soldiers like you, me, retirees, soon to be retirees, will not let that happen. We're going to go to Washington, D.C. and have June 6th 3.0. I mean, January 6th 3.0. No, that's trying to reclaim our democracy, taking care of the people who we made all these promises to if they go fight our wars. Fauci don't need it. Shouldn't have been lying anyway. I mean, first of all, because they told a lie about gain of function. He lied to us about gain of function in the Chinese, and we didn't know we were paying those guys to do those experiments over there in gain of function. And so, which helped cause all of this. Yes. Who's doing it? And that's right. And we were paying them through the World Health Organization money, okay, to perform that kind of experiments. Yes. Okay, whoever did it, they all working together. But I'm not blaming Trump for that. Trump didn't know what was going on. Well, because he probably thought it was. I mean, this. And again, the Fauci, who was the lead man on this, didn't tell us that we were partly responsible for it. Yes, it does. Hey, listen, I gotta take a break because I gotta take a break. But we talk about this another day, another day. Anyway, let me take a break here and I'll be right back. FM, WMGY. Now, if you want to give us a call, I realize I forgot that we only have a one or two numbers to call. If you want to engage us in the conversation, it's 5:20 in the afternoon. The numbers here are the number here is 334-398 8791. That's 334-398-8791. Our guest is attorney at law, Mr. Joe Reed. Still holding on to the past, like those pair of old tennis shoes.
Nobody's holding on to the
But,
past.
but he can't help it. He was born in the South. I'm with you.
You were in school and you lived in Indiana. Indiana ain't nothing but Alabama north.
And that's why I'm trying to figure out how come y'all have these feelings, but I don't.
Because you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to it. That's the best I can say. It's here.
And maybe you paying too much attention to it.
Look, I just see what it is. Nobody pees on my head and tell me it's raining.
Okay.
They don't pee in no jar and tell me it's granny's, sweet tea.
But you don't see the advantage of not having DEI.
There's no advantage to limiting the pool that you can choose from. Tell me on what planet, tell me what mathematic, tell me how that's advantage to say, I've got qualified applicants. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's what I want to do. Let me shrink the pool. I want to find a cure for cancer. I got an idea. Let me shrink the pool of scientists. That's a great idea. That's how we'll get there. I want to go to the moon. Well, I'll tell you, Mr. President, why don't let's not look at what the German scientists were doing. Let's just use the American scientists. Let's just pretend those German scientists don't even exist, and we'll figure out how we're going to get there. When has limiting your options ever been successful for trying to find the best person qualified? Tell me when that's ever happened.
I didn't say that. I
You
didn't
just
say that.
did.
But again, I should have the right. It's my business, my company, and unless I am being provided for by over 50% of my income comes from the federal government, I tell the federal government to take a flying hike. I'll hire who I want to hire.
Here's the thing. When you're doing, here's what the government says. When you're doing business with the government, there's certain rules you know what is.
If you do business with the government,
Right. So you want a license to do business, but you're not going to discriminate based upon their race.
Mhm.
You're not going to discriminate based upon their sex, their national origin, their religion. You're not going to do that. If you want to do business here, okay. Now, if you don't want to do business here, that's fine.
But what if their belief contradict my beliefs?
You won't be doing. I'm gonna say it again.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. If you want to do business
Yeah.
here, okay, you won't be able to hide your prejudice and your discrimination behind how you were raised, your religious beliefs, your whatever it is. You're not going to be able to do that.
What about
that's been
beliefs-
tried?
What about people's beliefs that are inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States?
Well, I don't understand what you just said.
What if people have beliefs that go against the values of the Constitution?
The
of the United
Constitution prevails because we're a country of
But
laws.
even though they live here and they want me to hire them.
Absolutely. We're
Let's say they believe that if you're gay, you cut off your head.
Okay.
Do we hire them?
I would not, because if they actually did that, then I'm gonna be in trouble. That's the law. See, we're a country of laws. We're in a country, even though some people are trying to make us a country of men.
Well, they just believe you should. They
we're a
haven't
country of
done
laws.
it. They just believe you should do it. They haven't done it.
Okay.
So
Here's
do
what.
I have to hire?
Well, I would not do that. I'll tell you, but again, that's a non-discriminatory reason for doing so. That's not their race or their sex or their religion or anything like that. The Constitution protects the reason. And again, you're right. We have evolved, and we've evolved through laws. We've evolved to make the Constitution try to mean what it says in the best way that we can do it. There've been good faith efforts certainly to do that. So we've got our set of rules. I told somebody the other day, I said, look, I told a friend of mine about people's better angels. And I told him, I said, if people's better angels always prevail, we wouldn't need jails. We wouldn't need cops. You would need to lock your door at night. I mean,
Let me ask you something. Our numbers here, if you want to give us a call, 398-8791. You can text me, 334-241-9992.
You're not going to win that DEI's dad argument with nobody. This doesn't make any sense.
Only Democrats.
No.
It does help us.
Kevin, the reality is, I don't think you would be sitting where you're sitting. I probably would not be where I am.
Got to be here.
If these things were not in existence, because there would be no reason for, quite frankly, codified white supremacy to yield. Okay,
There's that word again.
well, that's what it was.
Time we lose a round, we bring up white supremacy.
No, it's not about losing a round. I'm saying that's what.
Well, why don't I feel the way you do?
Because you aren't paying attention.
I've been black longer than you.
That's true.
Okay.
Now, that's true.
I'm about 20 years younger than your dad.
You're old.
So,
You're old.
so I don't feel the way you do, though.
Because I think.
And I call hell for some white folks in the Army. I got to tell you.
Why? Hold on. I'm glad you brought that. Why was that?
Because
What'd you do?
we were going through the transition.
What'd you do?
Well, I went to go. I had an opportunity to go to one of the most elite branches of our Army, and it was a tough road to hoe.
Were you treated fairly?
No, not all the time. No.
Does somebody make you do something they didn't make anybody else do?
I don't know. I can't remember that. It's been a while.
Okay.
I know
But
everybody.
you said you caught hell. What I'm saying is that it's one thing to catch hell because it's hard to run, 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles.
With a rucksack.
Right. That's right. But that's equal. That's hard, but it's fair.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got to do it. When I'm asking you, were you required were you judged differently? Be real about it. Were you judged differently? Were you forced to do something? Were other people cut breaks?
I was judged differently sometimes because I didn't know where I was, and I didn't know the expectations of the unit I was in until I got there, and so what I considered often to be unfair, it's kind of like the officer and the gentleman. They said we're going to do fair and unfair to push you out because maybe you don't need to be here. And maybe I didn't need to be there. The guy told me, he said, listen, I'd rather you quit on us now than quit on us in the field of battle. And so they did things that were fair and unfair to see if I was going to quit.
Okay.
Let me grab this one. Oh. You're on the air. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, again, I think if he can prove that, yeah, if he, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 So, are you in that position now? Are you in a position being supervised with someone with lesser education than you have and experience? Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Now, my question, and the only thing
I don't know.
ask,
I don't know any of these people, Kevin. So
No,
I
no,
didn't talk to them before they called.
my only question that I would ask you: do you have any proof that it had something to do with race? Was it personality, or was it that he just didn't like? I mean, people have a right not to like you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Right. And listen, and I believe, now don't get me wrong. If there was proof that they canceled that position after they talked to you, or upon talking to you, and they asked you a lower grade, then I said, now that's worth suing somebody over. That's certainly discrimination. But I don't know how you prove it.
It's not easy.
Mm-hmm. Would you agree though? Would you agree? And therein lies the problem. We've got to start building our own company, our own whatever. Because depending on somebody else all the time, they're gonna do what they want to do.
That's a separate issue. I don't disagree. Right.
Yeah.
That's a separate issue.
But thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. You give me a little light here. I'll take it under consideration.
So you're 0-3, just like Trump in his legal cases.
Well, again, though, if you can prove it, that's one thing. If it's your intuition of sorts, unless somebody can prove, I'm all about it if you can prove it.
Sure. And look, I'll take from practicing law. It's not easy to prove. The bar has been raised. The legal bars are raised so high to prove it. You got to prove intent, and that's difficult. That's very difficult to prove. I mean, you can use circumstantial evidence to do it, but the case law on proving discrimination now in workers it's a very, very high bar. I always remember I was writing a brief when I was in law school about voting rights cases, and these were white judges who were writing opinions on discrimination.
Gotta take a break. Be right back.
You just getting beat today. Ain't nobody agree with you today. You might want to consider changing your opinion.
I was talking to Richard Bailey.
Do you ever read the things I send to your phone? No.
Which one?
You don't. Kevin, you don't. I try to send you stuff to read and you don't read the stuff.
Hi, I'm State Farm Agent Willie Durham, and I want you to know that switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights, we switch TV channels. Some of us switch cardinal slots
like that, but people your age and below rarely have
how you can switch and save at State Farm. In fact, I can help you with switching over so you can start saving today.
He said people your age and below, actually a little bit lower than me, don't really think about color. But then if we don't get something, then we blame it on color. People 55 years and below probably not really thinking that much about color.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. That's a lie.
I just said that's what he told me.
I know it's he's lying. That's a lie. That's a lie. Because I'm gonna tell you why it's a lie, Kevin. It's a lie because I'll tell you what in your look. I told somebody racism is still alive, well, even in Hollywood. Because things you don't see what's this like black ass paired up with any white star. They ain't gonna do that stuff. So white people say Hollywood's liberal. It's not liberal. Okay. Then are we back on this thing already?
Make your own movies.
No, that's easy. It's just easy to say. You gotta get the money to do it. That's the bootstrap theory.
Mm.
But before you can get buy your bootstraps, you gotta what first? Get some boots. And not boots when they got cracked and halfway rotten bootstraps either that are gonna break as soon as you pull on them.
Mm.
You just forget.
We're back. Our guest this afternoon is Mr. Joe Reed, attorney at law. That's right, he's the mayor's brother. Does the mayor claim you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking.
He has to claim me.
Yeah.
He doesn't because I taught him everything he knows.
Which one are you older?
I am.
What, 1 year?
5.
Oh, really? Okay. You might got a little experience there. Anyway, our numbers are here is 398-8791. You can text me if you need to, 334. That's a great call, though. 334-241-9998 is my text number. You can call me, text me anytime, day or night you want to. I want to answer to the next day most of the time. Well, we'll see. But would you agree that often the R word has been used so much until it doesn't strike fear in the hearts of people anymore?
Well, what has it been used a lot? It's been used a lot. I think a lot of times, and more times than not, I think people are right on it. There have been times where that's not the case. But that's because of the psychology. It's because of our psychology. We've been in that, lions don't complain about how dangerous the Serengeti is. Okay? Mm-hmm. They don't complain about that. In fact, they'll tell you this, what's the big deal? Lions say, lion will tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But the antelope, the gazelle, the warthog, the zebra, they'll tell you a different story how dangerous the Serengeti is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They're going to tell you something totally different. You obviously know what I mean by that. If you're at the top of the food chain,
yeah, you
don't feel it. I was talking with somebody about sexual harassment as a man, and I poo-pooed it. Until I had to start listening, which was, I was asking a flat-out question. How many times I've been sexual harassed? Like, I never thought about that. I didn't work, I worked in corporate America for a second, but it never happened. But then I began listening to women who talk about the things that happen to them on the job. And they are not making this stuff up.
some of them did.
Okay?
Some of them did. I'm not going to say, at some point somebody has not done this. I'm saying. Okay? I'm saying it's a serious issue and it's real. I'm not saying it's not figuring somebody's imagination. So I'll say all that to say, to get back to your point, which is, why we do the things that we do. Because we're still shell-shocked and gun-shy. Because when we have been qualified, we've been discriminated against. When we have been the best person for the job, we haven't gotten it. Because they've kept us out of schools by using legacy clauses and things like that. Well, they want to knock down affirmative action. I think it's fine. Knock down legacy clauses too. Okay? Because that's how people be getting into Harvard for a long time. Because of whose grandparent went there. I don't have a problem with that.
Of course. But that's a different way. But again, that comes to a time when we weren't able to do that.
Right.
And you can't people saying is that can never be discounted, Kevin. Our struggles and the fact that we were shut out of this we weren't able to pass down wealth through our houses because one, we couldn't get loans. People wouldn't give us second mortgages on our houses in our neighborhoods. Oh, your neighborhoods, it's their houses are something.
Are we in part responsible for that? And I'm put it this way. I live down the street from Notre Dame. I live right. It'll probably take me like 15 minutes to walk to the university from my house. My mother would go by there all the time. And she would say, that's their university, as if it was off limits to me. So I never, ever even thought about going to University of Notre Dame. Father Manuel went there. So he's from down here. He went to University of Notre Dame.
Why did she say that, though?
Because she was born in Mississippi, and she undertook some things that were just nasty down there to her. And she was brought up in the 30s, in the 40s, where things wasn't so great. So I'm just saying, are we a little bit apprehensive about the things that we do out of our own prejudices because of what we've been told or what we think?
I'll answer the question by saying perhaps, but it's not. There's no good reason to feel that way. Your mother felt the way she felt because she grew up in Jim Crow.
Yes.
She grew up in a segregated society.
By first name.
Right. She grew up in a segregated society. She knew she could not say anything. She could not, as they say, backtalk white folks, as they would tell you. She knew she could not go to a restaurant and sit where everybody else sat.
Right.
She had to go around back. You have a women's room, a man's room, then the color room. For those things. She endured that because that was legislatively codified. So it was the law. It was backed up by the police with a pistol. It was backed up by the prison system. So she was taught that. So when she says to you that's their school, because she was denied possibly going to a Notre Dame, okay, because of her race. Notre Dame's private, but I'm saying it's her race. So she understood that. So she wasn't crazy. That was the world.
No, I understand. But that sentiment has followed her whole life.
Sure.
And I understood that. But she basically told us not to dream about that because it's impossible. And I think older parents, now your dad is a guy who's a man who said, forget those barriers. Do what you have to do. Get up there, get educated, do the things you must do. Yeah, you got to go through some things, but you don't quit. You keep going. My mother didn't have that foresight. It was just that you can't go to that school, and that's just it.
I'm not mad at your mom. It's not your mom's fault.
Right. I agree.
I'm not going to blame the victims of racial animus and prejudice and discrimination for how they felt. And for how they thought, because again, this is not something that somebody was simply whispering in your ear, and that wasn't a reality here. This was a reality.
I understand that, but but the question I'm asking: are we at least in part responsible for our attitude about moving forward? And we seem to grab that race thing, bam, at every opportunity.
Yes, but again, I think, but a lot of us are gun shy.
Yeah,
and we're good, but for good reason. Again, when you go back, I always like to use sports. I think that's the best because we see a lot of it. But go back to Doug Williams. This is the 80s. I graduated in 87, high school 87. It's the 80s. And they're playing, the Washington Redskins were playing the Denver Broncos. I think that was 88, maybe, whenever it was. All right. And Doug Williams, and those who don't know, Doug Williams is quarterback at Grambling University, played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And was he wasn't the first black quarterback, not at all, but one of the few black quarterbacks we had. It was a big deal that he started the Super Bowl. And one of the questions was asked of him is how long he'd been a black quarterback. And, of course, Doug was a quarterback under Grambling with Eddie Robinson. But it was difficult for black people to play the position. I remember even when I was growing up with my, majority coaches, when we saw kids who could throw the ball, they were fast, they would move from quarterback. They moved to running back. They moved to receiver. They were moved to defensive back. And we saw, I'll just be frank, other white kids who did not have that talent, who they would put at quarterback. And the way they framed it was, well, you need somebody who will stay in the pocket, pocket passer. So that was any man who watches, maybe getting away from the ladies a little bit, but the men understand, when men who watch football know about the 80s and the 90s, how they talked about the old 6'5" white quarterback who stood in the pocket like the Statue of Liberty, and he needed to be, this 6'5", 230 and stand there. Well, look at Lamar Jackson now. Look at,
Mhm.
Guys, there's so many. I'm so proud now because there's so many of them. You got to kind of reach and try to figure out, who you're dealing with.
Before we get off all of this today, there is one issue that I think that we have overlooked in all of this.
Okay.
Academically, our brains are just like everybody else's brain, all made the same.
Yes.
But it does seem to me that our public school system in Montgomery, Los Angeles, all major cities that are populated by predominantly a white populace, unless you are in the magnet schools or these private schools that are paid for by public dollars called magnet schools, our regular schools automatically seem to write you off as not being capable of being intellectually superior to other people, or at least adequate enough to academically pursue whatever dreams you have. And why is it that every school in this country that is bad, it's a public school, is populated by black folks?
That's like asking why poor neighborhoods usually have black people in them. Look,
And Latinos.
When I say look,
We've
when-
lost the pursuit of excellence.
well, it's a lot more. I don't say it's complicated than that, but that's not the only. I don't agree with that, but that's not the reason.
Okay.
Go back to what happens. Look, when black folks, when we started integrating schools, and then quite frankly, a lot of white parents start taking their children out of public schools, and at least as far as I can really remember, the defunding of public schools started at that point.
Well, they haven't defunded public schools.
Well, not all together, Kevin.
$10 billion
Hold
budget.
on. Not all together. But they keep taking money away from public schools even now. Now, I'm not the educational professional who can bring one of those
And
on.
is that because the standards have gotten to the floor?
No, that's not because of standards.
You don't really think it's color.
I think it's called. I think because
It's culture.
that's
not color.
No, that's because of who's in the school. And much like, and when you listen to, I'm just saying, Kevin, turn on Fox News sometimes.
I don't watch Fox News.
Okay,
Kind
well,
of
you
like
probably-
CNN too.
Okay, well, turn on some of these conservative radio station,
Okay.
and you'll hear what their reasons are.
Okay, logic and reason. To send your child to a private school runs about $1,500 a month if you go
Sure.
to the high end ones.
Okay.
If the standards were the same in public school, culture, the quality of education, the high expectations, why would not save myself $1,500 a month?
Well, I don't think the standards are different. I mean, if you
No,
see-
they're different. Yeah, they're different.
go to
Been there, done that.
go. There's no emphasis on education in this country. There isn't on public.
And the
education.
private schools that are.
Well, because certain people do that. But I'm saying because public schools are now educating children who are, let me be frank, black and brown, and not necessarily European. So the tax base is still largely European here. Just is, because the majority of the country is still that way. And so
Again, if the quality of education was adequate or equal to that of private school, you don't tell me that people would still spend $1,500 a month when they can get the same quality of education in public school.
it's more than it's who's in the schools.
It's culture more than color.
You're ignoring that part.
Did you see the great debate?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to public school. I went to JD here in Montgomery.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember when JD was about 65 white, 35% black.
Mhm.
Okay. And it was, probably by the time I left, it was 60-40. Okay. And I don't remember them. And I remember when kids would come from St. James and Trinity and finish out at JD for whatever that reason was. I remember that. But I don't remember the standards being lowered because it was a public school. Okay. But when I went back to JD, it looks the same. 50 years later, it looks the same. I'm sorry, God, really dated myself down 50 years old, not 50 years later. But since 87, so I'm coming up on, this is 2027, so what am I coming up on? Almost 35 years? Roughly 36, 7 years, whatever the math number, 37 years. I go to my locker, still the same ones, same classrooms. I mean, Alabama, look what Alabama's football stadium has undergone in the last 37 years. Hold on, here's my point. You missed my point.
It's the environment.
No, it's the priority, Kevin.
But the first priority should be expectation of excellence in public school. That should be the first priority.
Right, and fund it. Stop taking money.
What's funding got to do with expectation of
Because
excellence?
the money you put into a school gives you the same.
Did Martin Luther King have that much money spent on
Oh,
him
boy.
when he was going to school?
You know something? And David killed Goliath with a slingshot and a rock. do not send him out to fight the Germans in 1945 with a slingshot and a rock. He get his butt kicked quickly. So don't do that.
But we make excuses for today that don't need to be made. I'm telling you, if I could get the same education from public school, then why would I spend $1,500 a month?
I think there are things happening in public schools that are not necessarily happening in private schools. And a lot of private schools deal with money. Okay, deal with money. And
so the public school.
Well, hold on. What I'm saying is that people who come from affluent backgrounds don't go through the same things that people who don't come from non-affluent backgrounds go through. And there are multiple factors. And I'm not a sociologist, but there are multiple factors that go into that. It could be a kid's. I don't know how that child grew up. I don't know if he got any sleep that night. I don't know if it's been cold as crap the last 2 weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that boy is sleeping that young girl is sleeping in a room with no heat. I don't know if she doesn't have any food. I don't know if she doesn't have any clothes. I don't know if she's not being molested by an uncle. I don't know any of these things that may be going on that causes this stuff to happen.
Turn your radio down there. Good afternoon. Yeah.
He's getting his butt whooped.
He's a little lost, but you know. Mm-hmm. Well, probably not, but we have to make them care about it by demanding excellence, not only of our schools and our teachers and our administrators, but of our legislators. And Black folks won't demand excellence from their legislators. We love this. We put up with the excuses, but we don't. And let's just think of one thing called lottery. Everybody I know in Alabama wants a lottery, but the legislators don't work for us. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they can be in private schools too. So it's not as much. But again, if you put me in a car and put a blindfold on me, and I walk into the school, I shouldn't be able to tell what kind of school I'm in by the noise and the environment. The environment in private school should be the same environment that's in public school.
I agree. It's going to be newer.
Wait a minute. We don't believe in discipline in public schools anymore. Yeah, private. But there's no law that says you cannot have discipline in public school. We got too many women on the school board for one thing, and they don't believe in.
Whoa.
Well, I ask you to agree. It's true. Women are nurturers. They're not disciplinarians, except for their own kids. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Although I think Erica Watkins Smith is going to be a little bit different than the previous females who have held that position. Listen, man, I gotta appreciate your call. Y'all, again, the numbers here. I got probably time to take one more call or so. 398-8791. And I know people do. Listen, if you take a 6-foot man and a 5-foot man, a boy in class, he's not going to gear at that man. But a woman is 5'1" and a boy is 6'2" in school, 8th, 9th grade. He ain't scared. He's not daunted by her at all. Although women are great, love women. I got here because of a woman. I love her. But there are some places in society that need men. As a matter of fact, you know what happened in California? All these people losing their home. A lot of women could not pick up people because they were too small for the job. But DEI got in the way. We had to hire diversity and exclusion. People died. People lost their homes because women are not capable of doing what men do physically.
What are you talking about?
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, come on.
This is not, and so
That's ridiculous.
DEI came in though, and it's destroying lots of things.
So let's talk about the white privilege then. Let's just do that.
What's I can do white privilege?
Because that's what's going to happen.
That seems to be your fallback.
Because that's
all
what's
the
going to
time.
happen.
No. Are men and women different?
Yes.
Okay. Can a woman, a woman who was born a woman, how likely is it that she can pick up same size? She can pick up as much weight as I can.
But you can't pick up as much weight as you weigh.
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can. So, but the bottom line, God made females and He made males. Okay. DEI said, "Oh, there's no this thing in school now. Oh, we got men now because of DEI working on women, playing on women's team because of the Democrats."
Wait, no, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
Yes, come on.
It's not because of Democrats. The first thing.
Yes,
the first thing. It's not.
Yeah, Democrats. Republicans don't want DEI.
That's just no. Republicans certainly don't want diversity at all. That's what it's the all white party.
It's called absurdity. Not diversity.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's no.
Should a man be on a woman's team?
That's something to do with DEI.
Yes, it does.
It does not.
Well, Trump did away with it.
It just.
I'm good. Is there such a thing as a trans woman? Absolutely not.
Hold on.
No man can turn himself into a woman. No such thing as a trans. Because the Democrats and these people with this DEI crap,
you're trying to say trans. You're trying to say DEI.
It's all mixed up. It's all the same.
No, it is not.
Why would you put a man on a woman's team?
You're not. Where's that happening? Where's that happening in Alabama? Where's that happening?
Oh, it ain't happening in Alabama no more.
Tell me where that's happening.
Okay. Do you think is there such thing as a trans woman?
Yes.
Scientifically? Not your mental state.
I didn't say that.
Biologically, is there ever been a man that turned himself to a woman?
I think you're born with the chromosomes.
That determines whether or not you're a man or a woman.
Right. That does it now.
Yeah.
You can make alterations of parts all you want.
Man, you sound like that's the Supreme Court justice who got the Kimimi, whatever name is,
because,
who couldn't say what a woman was.
No, I mean I know it. I know what a woman is. You got the chromosomes to be a female.
Man, our time's up. We gotta go.
We shall. I'll straighten you out before the end.
Okay.
Best I can. No, I don't believe that. I'm not gonna stop anybody who wants to do that. That doesn't stop me. Now, to say that, but what you're saying are two separate questions. Okay, two separate questions. So no, I don't believe that transgender people ought to play in traditional sports because you're a man, your body. This is
that's right.
It's different.
This guy last week playing on a women's basketball team, he killed the women. Yeah. That's DEI for you. Well, diversity.
Oh yeah. But you don't throw the baby out of the bathwater. Okay.
But if you let a little light in, everybody can see the light.
There's some things you want to do, but that doesn't mean you kill the whole thing. I mean, that's like saying let's get rid of medications because sometimes people die.
There are some risks as human beings we have to take.
Okay, well,
there's some risks.
So here's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that just because you got